Well, it's been a week or two since I've been able to work on the Herald because of the Spitfire having unexpectedly broken, and it's turned into a shelf. Anyway, time to get back on it and get this bulkhead sorted. So I'm going to have a tidy up, get rid of all this mess, take the doors back off the bulkhead and get it to where, ignore the mounting holes and get it to where it needs to be, and then check the doors, well, fix it in place, check the doors will fit, check the hood will fit, and then I can accept that as where it should be. Then I can look at making the mounting points line up properly and getting the bonnet to agree with where the bulkhead is. So I'm suspecting the bigger problem is that I've knocked off the adjustment of the front of the bonnet because of having taken off the suspension turret and therefore knocked out that alignment. No, I'll get on with this and then we'll have a look. Alright, there's a door on. At least it's close enough to be able to start working with. This is clearly something up here. I don't think this will this even shut? I don't think it will. No, I've already done it. It's got this one caught. Great. Now, of course, though, the bulkhead at the moment is only bolted to the back. Anyway, I'll keep going. Right, this door is now on, and the marks for where the hinges were before I took everything apart, well, sort of lined up. You can see it was a little bit higher, but it's roughly in the same position it was on the bulkhead. And the bonnet appears to be, it's off, but it's looking like the bonnet could come back. Before I didn't have any fixing down the bottom, so the whole thing was tilting back with the weight of the door. I think I'm a bit more inclined to trust this mounting hole's position because it looks like that's almost impossible to see, not even with a light. Well, you see there's blue through there. The actual mounting hole is a little bit towards me. So coupled with the way that is, it would suggest that the whole thing needs to move in this direction, or in this direction. Not finished, it's not fixed, but I feel it's going. I feel it's not completely as bad as I was worrying it was. So I'm going to have a further play and we'll see where we get. Slowly, I'm getting somewhere. So this door is alright. It does still poke out a bit at the bottom, but did do that before, and it needs some work itself. It's all coming through along the bottom. So that's another job for later. And on this side where I've made my error, it's nearly there. It's difficult to show. The gap is definitely too wide at the bottom, too narrow. The gap is definitely too wide at the top and too narrow at the bottom. I'm just not managing to get it sat quite as I like it. But it's getting there. And the bonnet is, again, getting there. I think the bonnet's going to have to come towards the back of the car. But I want to make sure I can get the bulkhead in the right position first, and then I'll worry about the bonnet. Okay, it's now a day later, and I've been doing some more playing. Getting to the point where I can shut this door, and you know, we're not on a perfect gap right now, but it's within where I could reasonably expect to do some adjustment. And the other side is fine. I can actually get all the, I don't know, I'm trying to show this on camera. I can actually get all the bolts in on this side of the car, so I'm pretty sure that this is right. I've got a slight, well, this was always here. There's a slight stick out on this side and a slight actually tuck in of the door on the other. So it may be that the hole of the bulkhead wants to go a tiny bit towards the driver's side. But in terms of forward and backward, I think this is alright. So what I'm going to do next is tack in something here to give me that location point. Then go and cut through the front of the floor and let the bulkhead come out to let the hole where this clamp is actually line up properly. Obviously should have done this in the first place, but here we are. Oh, I should add as well, I've done some measurements between the top of the, done some measurements between the top of the windscreen frame and the floor, and to that point there, and across the door gap, and that gives me sort of across the door gap from around where the door check strap is. So that gives 40 inches right across, 36 from here down to the bottom, and sorry, and that's 3 feet, no, 36 inches down to the bottom, and same to here, from here to the top on both sides. So I think I'm convinced enough that this is in a sensible place, and I can start to fix up stuff so it will actually fit. Okay, well, are we getting on with that then? Yeah, so got a bit of bar welded to the chassis, tacked to the chassis to keep the position I've got forward and back. Then I'm going to loosen everything off and try and pull the the body on the driver's side towards me a tiny bit. Well, if that works out, then hopefully I'm going to be able to get a bolt in here, because that's what feels like it needs. It feels like the body mount needs to come a little this way. It looks like the door would want to come a little towards me as well. Obviously that could be achieved using the in-out adjustment on the hinges, which is it's under there. But I'm working on the, the hinges on the doors are in the same position they were when the doors came off. So I think trying to move the body first, or trying to move the bulkhead first, is going to be the way forward. Okay, so I'm going to try and do that, and then we'll see how it went. There, so with the front body mount, so all three front body mounts are in on passenger side. And I've got these two sidewell mounts in here. I ended up having to drill a tiny bit off the edge of the holes. Whatever, live with that. The important thing is that the hood fits, latches up. This is possibly a little tight, but I think it always was. You can see there's a mark on the top of the door from it hitting. This glass gap has always been like that. And this is similar. This is better, but again, like it's always been before. There's a pull there. So don't remember, this hood's getting on a bit. But I'm happy enough with that. What shall I do now? I was going to go and cut through the floor to shuffle that front mount forward a bit, but I think I might fiddle with bonnet first, make sure I can get that. I'm pretty convinced now with the bulkhead in place and the doors more or less fitting and shutting. I'm pretty convinced that this is where the bulkhead needs to be. Obviously it should be fixed. I'm pretty sure I haven't messed up the passenger side frontmost mount, which is the one that really gives the position. So I think I might make sure I can get the bonnet to line up at least roughly before I start cutting the floor, because the bonnet should fit now, because if the bulkhead is back more or less where it was, and it seems to be, because we can get the doors on, get the hood up. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'll have a play with that and then show you what's up. Well, I managed to get very little done over the weekend because it's been absolutely throwing it down here, and I've not. Well, I'm normally not too precious about getting the Spitfire out when it's wet, but it was extremely heavy rain. Anyway, so now I've just managed to get the adjustment in on the driver's side of the Herald, so that the bonnet will close, and the gap is too narrow at the bottom and too wide at the top. But bonnet will shut, and we've got adjustment left. I still can't do the passenger side because I've actually damaged the adjuster, which is annoying. Anyway, I have another one of them on order, should be here in a couple of days. So I think once I've got that, it looks like there should be enough adjustment to get this so it will close properly. And I feel like the engine must be. I'm not sure why we lost adjustment on the driver's side. Because most of that's all stayed the same, except for the bulkhead. But the door will fit, so the bulkhead can't be in too crazy a position. And I haven't touched the upper sections. So anyway, it doesn't matter, as long as we can get the car back together and it doesn't look, you know, the panels sort of fit. No, they should be fine, they should be good. But once I've got that adjuster, I'll be able to check that I'm actually able to get something, you know, that I'll be able to work with. Then I'll be able to get on and actually fix the floor pan mounting, or the front body mounting. So in the meantime, I'm going to get the rest of the suspension at least bolted on, so I've not got these bits of brake shield and so on hanging around in the garage. And then we'll have to wait till Wednesday. So I wasn't actually expecting there to be much exciting to see here. Well, relatively exciting. However, I've actually just had to replace this bit of the vertical link, because this was actually loose. And let me see. Yeah, there's some damage on it as well. I don't know when that happened. I happened to have a spare vertical link and was able to get this seal guard, whatever it is, off and reuse it. Anyway, so my kind of question to myself has been, will this felt seal still do its job, given it's been bashed around presumably by a loose shield? Actually, it looks like it. And these are, if you're unfamiliar, these are difficult to get, well, impossible to get in original quality, so I don't really want to. I do have a couple of new old stock ones, which I might consider using. So they're not. Okay, so we can actually do a bit of a comparison. This is the one that was on there. I've got a period Pay-In branded one and a Unipart, Unipart branded one. Now, the one that was on the car, and I don't know how old this is, where it came from. Full focus. It feels heavier. I mean, it could be because it's more oil soaked, of course, but this pressing of the whatever this side of the metal part of the seal is. There's a little dish there. It feels like it's more complex than the Pay-In one. Is just a smooth edge. As is the Unipart one. Now the inner circumference of this Pay-In seal is about the same as the original, but you can see there's more. This Unipart one has, well, that's quite hard to see actually. that has more, or smaller inner diameter. I would actually just fit quite nicely. I think other than the fact that there's nothing, that this is not actually stuck to, this is the one that came off the car, other than the fact it's not actually stuck to the metal housing, it's not broken or damaged. So I think I'm just going to put it back, especially as these, I mean they're older, maybe they get better, but that looks like a better pressing for the actual metal part, so I'm going to stick with it. So I got my replacement adjuster rod. It's an impressively large number of different colours. I can count 5, I think. Anyway, I'll get that, or the bit, at least the bit I need on the car. Probably just going to use the inner half rather than remove what I've got existing, and then check the bonnet's going to adjust far up enough. I'm suspecting that it must be because the engine's not in the chassis. I don't know why the driver's side bonnet separation increased so much. But anyway, I'll get this on and check that the adjustment's going to give us what we need. It should do. I'm pretty confident now, but I just want to check it off and then get on with adjusting the position of the bulkhead, or position of the mounting point for the driver's side, which I suspect I know I've put it back in the wrong place, so I'll get that sorted. Okay, let's get that done. Well, it's not right, but it's telling me that there is enough adjustment in the there's enough adjustment in the bonnet that it can go where we need it. And actually this side, driver's side, is pretty good. So that was the side I was most worried about, because I've obviously made a mess of the, don't know why I'm trying to do that. So this was the side I was most worried about, because I thought I might have made a mess of the front attachment point of the bulkhead, which is the crucial one. Well, I know I have, but it's back in a good place, so I can get on and I can actually cut through the floor and bring the body mount out to where it's supposed to be. I maybe need to tilt the bulkhead a little bit forward on this side, because it looks like the door wants to come forward, but at the moment the quarter light's very close to the top of the windscreen frame. Anyway, let's get the driver's side. As I've got the car all, well, short of doors, covered up again. And plan is plan is to cut along here and then let the bulkhead right the axe. I think I can even show how obvious it is on the camera, but to me I can actually see the kick down at the front now everything's in place. So the front of the floor there is actually very slightly lower than it dips down to go towards the front of the car, which is, you know, obviously the whole thing's, I've managed to swing the whole thing in. But you know, there was quite a lot of repair went into that side. Should have done a bit more checking beforehand, obviously, but anyway, whatever. We're here now, so let's get that cleaned up and cut through. I'm not sure how well the film of actually doing that's going to come out, because it was a little awkward to get in there, and I'm almost certain I'm going to have got my head in the way. Anyway, that's had to move a lot more than I was anticipating. I still think, well, maybe it needs to. Anyway, now on this side, we've got about 9 centimetres to the corner of the outrigger, or the corner between the outrigger and the chassis, and about the same on this side too. Oh, that's not showing up. It looks like there needs to be a little bit more shuffle towards me, not towards the driver's side, but from the home. But I don't think that's right. I'm quite unwilling to. Unwilling to enlarge those holes, but I feel I might have to. Just in the direction that's going to let us get the bolt in here. So I decided to extend this hole ever so slightly outwards, and you can tell it's off centre in the bracket. Yeah, I've obviously made some other error somewhere but this all seems to work. So I'm going to get a tack in down here. And probably something over the back, over the inside. I'll have to get everything back on, doors and bonnet and such, and check it all is going to still fit, because I clearly haven't been doing enough of that. If I had, I wouldn't be in this position. Okay, well, I'll get that done and have a look what's next. Yeah, so I've got a bit of scrap tacked across the outer edge to keep that separation, and I've got a couple of tacks in that corner. Oops. And down at the front. So that should all keep in place, because I will be taking this back off again to finish this welding, and doing this a little bit now has convinced me I did make the right choice in the first place to take the bulkhead fully off. Okay, so what I should really do is get the doors back on. Yeah, so I best get that done, and then probably going to have to move on. Well, providing that fits, probably going to have to move on to doing something like this, because I guess this is another bit I've made a bit of a mess of. Well, I've been going back and forth over this for several days now. On the driver's side, I can roughly, it's not even, but it's in the right area. I can get a door shut that looks fine. I've got clearance at the top of the bonnet. Seems normal. On the passenger side, however, the gap's huge, and it's definitely too close to the bulkhead. And I've been trying to figure out what's wrong. So I've had all the bonnet adjusters in and out. I've played with everything that I could think of, but obviously I had to, I elongated this hole outwards towards the outside of the car, because the mounting point was too far. Well, it wouldn't meet up with the hole, and I'd assumed that because I knew I'd got this side of the bulkhead pushed in somewhat, that this was the only one that was wrong. But I think that I shouldn't be trusting necessarily the passenger side mount. And actually, if I measure from there to the edge of the chassis, we're about 16.5 centimetres. And on the other side it's dead on 16. And it would only need to move, the bulkhead would only need to move towards me a little bit to let the bonnet come in a bit further. We've got the space here to allow that. Oh well, it wouldn't move much on this side anyway. We've got more of the space here for the to allow the bulkhead to move over. So I don't really like playing, because these are supposed to be the close tolerance holes of the whole car. I don't really like playing with them. However, I know the body has not moved since I took the bulkhead off. and the doors will fit to it. So the forward-backward position of the bulkhead has to be reasonable. Anyway, I'm going to try that and see if I can shift it over a little bit, and if that solves the problem. And what I'm going to do when I'm happy is pop some washers, bolt these down with a washer under the. Excuse me. And bolt the front down with a washer under the bolt head, and then weld those in place. So that gives me back the close tolerance hole that's expected on these front body mounts when it comes off and for paint. So cross fingers, and I'll get on with that and see how it goes. So I've got to the point of improving things, and this is better now. It's supposed to be a 5mm gap all the way across, according to the training notes. That's a 5mm drill bit. Yeah, if I actually push it properly flush, it's a bit too tight. And this is supposed to be 8mm, which it isn't. And I've widened this one out a bit, just by fiddling. I'll see if I can pull the driver's side in tighter, and that will pivot round the passenger side. I've reached a conclusion. This is the thing to say. There's more adjustment needed. I had a thought, and that was, what did it actually look like before? And I've been through some of my old photographs of the car. I've had it since 2007, and the door to bonnet gap on this side was never very good. So I'm close. Well, I'm pretty convinced now that I've not made a complete hash of things. I think I might actually need to pull I have pushed the bulkhead over. I think I might need to pull it back, because that. Then obviously that's adjustable by the doors, but that's proud, and the bonnet's proud on the other side. Obviously you can adjust that through adjusting the doors, but we know that, or I know the in-out door position is the same because I haven't undone those bolts. Anyway, so I went through some old photos, and what I'm going to do here is cheat. Though actually this may just be, see, I noticed the trim is poking out there, and I know this door was skinned about 1992, so I wonder if actually the door skin is just too short. All this trim's been put on in a incorrect place. See, this one's nice, goes to the ends, the edges of the door. So this door is all rust in the bottom, so I was going to skin it eventually anyway, but the door skin is hiding over in the corner. So I can just make that a little bit longer, make it look a bit nicer. But what that means here is that the bulkhead, I can get the bulkhead back on in a sensible position, so I'm quite happy about that. I'm going to do a bit more fiddling. I'm going to pull the bulkhead a bit back this way. Actually, the bonnet cone was another thing that I wasn't remembering. Wasn't remembering that the bonnet cone actually has in-out adjustment as well as side to side, or whether it's got a lot of freedom. So that was actually pulling the bonnet in at one point and bringing it closer to here. So yeah, I'm going to have another play. But I'm pretty confident now, which is good. So there's all the bolts back in, the six that hold the 6 main ones that hold the bulkhead to the front of the chassis. And everything's as it was when we were fiddling about. Except for I pushed the bulkhead back a little bit over towards the driver's side, so these are a little less prominent. And there's going to be a bit of up and down with the bonnet, and in and out with the doors that we can do. But that's going to be for when we're actually putting, well, when the engine's in. I'll have another check once the engine's in and the car's on the floor, and you can just do all the checks then. I think though I'm going to leave this one here. It's probably not been particularly exciting given it's just been me wandering around not knowing how the body fits. But we'll get that. I'll get this put together, and the next thing's going to be starting to look at next thing is going to be revisiting these areas of the outer floor, because there's a bit of a gap here. I feel like I've dropped, especially this side, dropped them down while putting the floor pans in, which is entirely possible because there was a lot of metal manipulation. And yeah, I should have done something more cleverer, but I didn't, so here we are. Anyway, so we'll leave it there, stop rambling, and well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.